It looks alright. Like, I'm not that interested.
Okay.
Other than like the theme.
Oh, this is the debate topic for this convention. Not official, of course. All right. Now, it's going to be a little rough today. I messed up and lost the connector piece to my tripod, so we're going handheld. But this is just the intro, so I think we're going to be fine for now. We're also been here for, 3 hours, and the input on this has been very, very, very exuberant, which is not what I was expecting. Because today's topic is very Pokemon specific, a narrow lane, or at least what I thought was a narrow lane. Pokemon Sword and Shield will be coming out in November. I am a huge Pokemon fan, as you know. I've done episodes about Pokemon, regionals, all that other stuff. With Sword and Shield came a very discouraging announcement that for the first time ever, not every Pokemon ever created would be playable in the game. And after 22 years of goodwill between the fans and Game Freak, the developers of Pokemon, the fans flipped out. Disproportionately, if you ask me. Pokemon Sword and Shield do not need a national Pokedex.
Whoa, shut up for a second. Maybe we need to describe this issue a little bit more clearly. So why don't we cut to Spazo in the game room for a minute. 1998 in the States, Pokemon Red and Blue are released. 151 Pokemon total. 2 years later, Pokemon Gold and Silver come out. 251 Pokemon total. And every subsequent generation, more Pokemon every single time. And to use Sun and Moon as the most recent example, even though there's only a certain number of Pokemon that you can actually catch within the game, in this case, I'd say it was about 300. By then, even though you could only catch 300, all 807 Pokemon were available for use in some form or another. You could bring them from other games or trade them or breed them, but they were all available for use. And for the first time ever, with the Pokedex supposedly about to hit 1,000, that number is going to go down. So instead of being able to use every single Pokemon that ever existed, they're only going to be able to program a fraction of them, perhaps half, perhaps more, we don't know the exact number, for the current generation in Sword and Shield. And that's the basic crux of the issue.
We got to think about the people who make these games and the crunch culture that goes into trying to fit everything the fans want into a game at a specific deadline.
Crunch culture is a relatively new term with no official definition, but it's described here in this article as the practice of working long hours and sacrificing personal time and health for the sake of development. That's simple enough, right?
We're going to go hardcore today because we don't have a tripod, so it might not look very good, but when has that ever changed? It's always looked terrible. And ultimately, again, doesn't matter what it looks like, doesn't matter how the footage looks, it doesn't matter the interactions we get. We come here, we have fun, we do what we love, and that's what we're going to do.
I think that the way I play Pokemon games, I play them as they're meant to be played, as their own standalone. So I think the lack of a national dex doesn't really change the overall game as long as it's got a good story. It's a lengthy game because they've made some short ones in the past, and I think overall, Pokemon Sword and Shield, if they're just played for what they are rather than comparing them to everything that came before them, they will overall be a better experience, and they can always improve later. I mean, the Switch has online capabilities, so they could always add a national dex at a later date as DLC or a free add-on or something. And I'm still looking forward to the games. I think everything I've seen so far has kept me really excited.
See me playing Pokemon since the 90s, since I was 4. I remember when Red came out. My brother got it. I was in Dallas at the time, and I do remember, I kind of deleted a save file on accident, even though I had my own. He was mad about it, but he got everybody back. I do remember going to Arlington, so to speak, the Park Mall, when they had Mew coming out for the first time, and everybody was like, oh, this is Mew. And that's the type of that I really like and miss. But nowadays, nothing wrong with the technology stuff, but looking at it now, how everybody was so appreciative, but now it's just kind of, the national dex right now, they're just kind of, it's a split within the Pokemon community for something like this, and it shouldn't be like that. The people that disagree, and I don't know, it's my opinion, if they're agreeing with, if they're disagreeing with not having a national dex, they kind of, it's my opinion, they just might need to be quiet about it and be patient. because I mean Pokemon's always been here for like 20-something odd years, in my opinion, and they're doing all that they can for us. But they just need us to be patient for one freaking game. We at least got to let them do what they need to do, at least for one game, for one freaking game. Because, I mean, the Pokedex is almost like 1,000 right now, and it is too much to make it by scratch. It really is. It is, in my opinion. So, I mean, for me, as a Pokemon fan myself, pretty competitive too. Favorite Pokemon is Lucario. Just, I don't know. I think the split kind of needs to end now because I'm on anime Twitter a lot, and I see it every day. I'm like, guys, come to agreement, man. Just they're not going to do it. So just sit here and accept. But I do love Pokemon. I love the community, even though it's kind of a split, and I'm not going to hate anybody for it. We just need to come together as one and just be patient with everything.
There exists people in this world who are fans. A franchise exists because of fans. When a franchise dismisses the wishes of its fans, there will be punishment. And it will be swift, and it will be brutal.
Okay, so basically, Sobble is the only reason that Pokemon Sword and Shield does not need a National Dex. Sobble is such a good boy that the National Dex doesn't need to exist. Anybody who says it does is just complaining because Gen 1's not getting another remake. So, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Pokemon Sword and Shield does not need a national Pokedex. I would disagree with that statement. Purely for one fact, if I do not have my national Pokedex, I cannot have best Pokemon ever Chimchar. And that is my argument.
The best part about that argument is the best Pokemon ever, because everybody's got one, and every Pokemon is somebody's best Pokemon ever. Even Pokemon like Illumise. Well, maybe not Illumise, but Heatmore. I heard somebody come to the defense of all of these Pokemon today. I'm probably going to lose some of my favorites too. But we don't know who's getting cut or not. Chimchar could be there. Chimchar may not be there. Heracross could be there. That's mine. Or Heracross could not. That's sad. But when it comes right down to it is developing 1,000 Pokemon is a lot of work. I heard one person today call Game Freak lazy. And I asked him, how many games have you developed this year? And of course he said, none but. I'm like, none but what? I want every Pokemon, just like you do. That's why the statement says, I don't need them. I want them. I want them now. I don't want to lose Hawlucha. I don't want to lose Lopunny. I love Hawlucha. I don't want to lose these Pokemon. There's something great about every single one, except for Stunfisk. And I want them all back, but sometimes I got to think about those people behind the scenes who make those games. You know what I'm saying?
It is a fair point that to make a game as big as they're going for, with all the new features that they're adding, some things need to be cut. I personally don't mind the loss of some features, such as Mega Evolution and Z moves. I thought they were good for their time, but I'm ready to go back to more regular Pokemon combat. I do wish that there was the addition of the National Pokedex purely for the completion of it, but the amount of effort that is being put into the game already is appreciated enough.
Everyone's got a favorite. We're all going to have to take a hit on this one. Game Freak has given us a lot. No microtransactions, no loot boxes, no DLC. They've given us a lot of goodwill for 22 years. I think we need to return the favor just this once. Yes. On a day that we knew it was coming. 1,000 Pokemon or however many more, the number's always going to go up. Eventually the time is going to come that some Pokemon were going to get the axe.
And I will have to concede there. That is a very good point. Fist bump. Boom.
We made a couple of changes to the sign this time. And the sign has obviously changed every time. It's been evolving every time we come out here. It's nothing like it started, being what originally was a meme costume, and now it's its own thing. But one of the changes we made was we took debate off the board. And the problem was debate was meant to entice people to get on camera and do a debate. That was the plan. And what people were interpreting it as was they counted it as sort of a non-vote. So they would read the topic and they're like, you know what, that's debatable, and then they would mark debate, which of course is not what we wanted. So we switched it to head-to-head and testimonial. Testimonial meaning we get you on camera and you express your strongly held opinion. Head-to-head meaning you debate me head-to-head. And it seems to have worked. We've had a lot less people coming up and going, is there an undecided? Because there clearly is not. So we got that out of the way. But the second change that I made is over here on the left. I put disagree on top and agree on bottom. It seemed as though that there may have been a hierarchy that might have skewed the results on previous signs, with agree being above and disagree being below. And so I decided to switch them up this time. And it doesn't seem to be having an effect on the results compared to previous signs, as agree is still running away with it, even though people have had to bend a lot farther down to mark agree than they had to do for disagree. So I guess the ease of bending over hasn't affected the results of this poll at all. But then, on the analysis side of everything, I gotta wonder how many of these results are valid just because, as it turns out, a lot of people are having trouble understanding the sign. I had one person who described it as a double negative because you're disagreeing with a not.
So you are saying they do or don't need a national Pokedex?
Okay, they do.
They do need a national Pokedex.
So I disagree.
Wait, I'm not sure you quite, because if you're saying we don't need a national Pokedex, that's agree. Agree's down here.
Okay, then no. Then I agree. I agree.
I agree.
I, of course, had to say that, this is designed to be a debate topic, and debate topics are a statement, and you either agree or disagree with it, or you are for it or against it. So if we can find new ways, I might have to word it that way from this point on. Instead of being agree and disagree, change it to for or against. These are things I'm learning.
Pokemon Sword and Shield do need a national Pokedex because this encourages sequels. And Pokemon's one of those franchises that will never die, and let's keep it that way.
Okay, you recording? All right. Okay. So
it
what's
can
going
sound
on,
good
guys?
without the mic, but
It's
yeah.
it's Styles Ace from Anime Sauce. My boy Spike.
Hey, it's your boy Spike.
So
How you doing, nerds?
the question is, Pokemon Sword and Shield do not need a national Pokedex. I don't know how to feel.
Okay.
Because it's yes and no, and it's also like maybe we need it, maybe we don't.
Considering that they are trying to increase the amount of time they can push out a Pokemon game, yeah, that's a smart business decision. However, you're limiting us to the amount of Pokemon we have invested our time into raising and bringing it over to the next gen. So, which is why it's like, okay, you do need a national dex, but at the same time, it's like, but I want my Pokemon games out a little sooner. I want to try it out, and plus, this gives a little more like adventure. Like, hey, only this region has this type of Pokemon. It makes it feel a little more natural and real to a certain extent. Smart business decision. We'll find out in November, actually, like how many people like are gonna love this and how many people are gonna hate it, and are we gonna get more Galar, right?
Yeah.
Galar themed Pokemon, and are they gonna be from Hoenn region? If they're from the Hoenn region and they switch them up, I'm okay with that.
They already did.
Like, well, yeah, they did the Zigzagoon, but I wonder if they're gonna have more than that actually. That's fun.
Okay, I'm gonna keep it real.
Because we had the Alola was.
We do
cancer.
not need a Pokemon deck. I'm gonna have to disagree. The only reason why I say that is because this is a new Pokemon. We're gonna try it out something different. I trust Nintendo.
Do you?
I try to. So, they have not let me down before. Maybe. Fingers crossed.
Right, I agree. Right now, until I play the game, because I see what they're trying to do, and I'm like, until I see the game out, until I play it, then I'll like give my full say. But I'm like, right now, I'm like, okay, I agree, because I see it from their perspective now, what they're trying to do. So let's see what happens in November. Actually, what version are you gonna get? Gotta pick one.
Is it wrong that I'm gonna get both?
I mean, I'm getting Shield. I was hoping you would get Sword.
I want to get Sword, but I actually just want to get both.
We could trade, but no, you want to get both.
Fine, I'll get Sword. I'm calling it. I'm getting Sword.
Selfish.
If I see Caterpie in another Pokemon game, I'm gonna lose my damn mind.
I feel like things will change eventually, so I feel like that yes, Nintendo does need to work with their animations, although they may seem basic right now, but also you have to keep in mind that the Switch and the 3DS are two completely different models, and they probably have also edited the video game models from Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and tried to make them look different. And with all these new Pokemon coming in, they're probably going to have to change them anyways.
Also, I would like to say I would really love to see them try animating the entire game themselves, okay? Nobody can do that. Well, some people probably, but not everyone.
I will. But I also have to say that I feel excited for Pokemon Sword or Shield regardless. I feel like that whether we're an old person or a young person getting into Pokemon, I feel like that we can always just accept Pokemon as it is. Just because of a stupid catchphrase that started because of the anime doesn't really matter. But I'm sorry, I'm dragging this on. I'm excited for an open world Pokemon. It makes it really feel like an RPG to me.
All right, so I just think that the National Dex is an important part of Pokemon. Every Pokemon is someone's favorite Pokemon. I think that getting rid of crunch culture is important, but that the Pokemon Company could have delayed the release of the new gen in order to give time for the new Pokemon to be added. Or if the Pokemon Company couldn't delay it, these features can always be patched in later, and thus the game could still release on time without crunch culture. And then, even if it takes a year or two to get all these Pokemon, they could eventually be added, which is something that Game Freak has said they don't intend to do. And I think that that's the real problem here, is that there seems to be no intention of adding Pokemon that people care about to the game. And I feel that I personally just don't feel like it's a Pokemon game if everyone's favorite Pokemon isn't there. I mean, most of my favorites are not in this game, and because of that, I think I'm going to skip it.
All right, well, so I'm Spike. You can find me on Spike TV on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And I do podcasts with my co-host Styles here on the weekly replay.
Big facts.
And we're here for Anime Sauce.
Yep.
For this convention.
Catch you guys later.
Stay classy, man.
Also, I have learned a lot about how people feel about Pokemon, and everybody gets something different out of Pokemon. Some people just love the new creatures and they love more than just the creatures. They love the worlds, they love the trainers, every last bit of it. There's something they find they love about Pokemon. Which means it's not just the creatures themselves and the battling mechanics that need to be worked on, because if they decided to sacrifice all of the gameplay and just focus on getting every creature in there and making them battle ready and not worry about making a new world, a new region, a new lore, they would be alienating a different set of fans. Truly, they had to make a hard choice here. And I was actually surprised to learn that so many people are in love with more than just the Pokemon about Pokemon. And so they don't feel it as a very big loss to see some of these Pokemon go, as I've learned. And yet, other people have been willing to describe Game Freak as lazy, which I feel like sort of encompasses the entitled nature of all fans, really.
The final score was 165 agree to 65 disagree. Even if we threw out votes due to confusion, let's say 20%, and gave those votes to disagree, it would still be a landslide result. While some of the disagrees had compelling arguments, most fell into a specific category. Game Freak is lazy, Game Freak is bad at making games, and Game Freak doesn't care about their fans. Conversely, I was approached by people who work in animation and programming, and they agreed. People on the outside frequently underestimate how hard it is to bring these games to life. No matter what mode of entertainment we consume, we have to make sure that we recognize that there is humanity on the other side of that digital window.
Which, you know what I've noticed? I can tell how old somebody is based on who their favorite Pokemon is.
What's your guess?
That would put you at about, let's see, that came out in 2007. Average starting age of a Pokemon player is 10, just like the game character. That would make you, what, 19?
21.
Oh! I was close.